Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cast a Commotion, the podcast where we talk about flesh and blood. It has been a very long time since I've recorded a dedicated podcast episode or any content, to be honest with myself. But a lot of life happening, all that kind of bull. I wanted to make sure to get all the life stuff out of the way before Proquest season started, and that's what we're talking about this episode. We're talking about Proquest, the preparations you need to make, and the things you can expect for this Proquest season. Now, I understand that week 1 of Proquest is going to be done by the time this comes out, but I wanted to give kind of more of a post first week so you know what to go with and what expectations to have jumping into the rest of Proquest. If your Proquest near you has already happened, my bad, sorry, but for those of you like me and many of the people around me are going to be traveling for multiple Proquests because we just got to get on there. That's what this is for. It's to give you like a broader idea of the meta and things that are going to be on the road. This time on Cast a Commotion, Proquest, and what to expect. So you've decided to jump on the trail. You want to get on here. I have a few episodes about this already, but it's always good to get a refresher and a newer perspective based on my experiences and just more time in the game. Proquest can be very stressful for some people. You know, if you travel any amount of time, put any kind of effort in, that's time, that's money, effort, all of that. You're investing something into your run. Okay. I just want to get this right off rip. Don't be a jerk, okay? When you get there, it's okay to it is competitive rules enforcement. Okay. But I had an opponent pretty early on in the tournament. We just had a misplay. That was my part, you know. That was both players' fault, to be honest. My opponent used Dreadbore and shot an arrow, and I was like, okay, sync. And I was like, resolve sync. He says yes. I draw the card. I tuck the card. And then I say sync again, and he goes, oh, wait a minute, Dreadbore. And I go, oh, entirely my bad. We can resolve this. So we do. We get the judge of the moment was watching from behind the Riptide player, thankfully. So I just sat there. He gave the head nod. It was turn 1. Okay, there's nothing at stake yet. We haven't even done anything. We just back it up. He just gives us a head nod. We move on. It's not the biggest deal. But then I look at my hand, and my opponent goes, you've already said no blocks. Hackles up, panic in his voice, anger in his voice. Right off rip, turn 1, nothing has happened yet. I'm not saying he's wrong. I didn't declare no blocks. I just went to the reaction step. That's not the point. The point is I went to reactions. We went to turn 1. You're already hackles up, panic in your voice, tense. I understand that, again, you're traveling, you're investing your time into this, but you absolutely need to find your own rhythm, your own rituals and things that help you calm down when you get there. Obviously I traveled with friends. Not obviously, I guess I traveled with friends, so it was just a relaxing time the entire time. We're just joking, talking about the game, listening to music, just having a good time on the whole drive there. But when I get to the event location, I familiarize myself with the space if I'm not familiar with it. Walk around, buy some things, buy some packs, try to get into the comfy mindset. Like, this feels like home. I'm opening packs. I'm in a game store. Just level myself with the area around me. I'll then go outside, get some fresh air. I personally have habits that nobody should have, but do those things. Make the place feel like home. Okay? That's my first tip of anybody going to any Proquests, any Road to Nationals, any larger events. Make where you're at feel like home. Introduce yourself if you're not super shy. to the staff. Because now I've gone to this ProQuest, I've gone to this location no less than 8 times, and we're familiar with each other now, make it another home that you're welcome back at, and you can always just show up at, and it's just a good time. They like to travel up to us now. You start to make connections, you make friends. It's a game, man. Make friends. So, I was a little weirded out because this player has been spotted as far as our location, which I think is like 8 to 9 hours away from where they live. And I don't remember them being like this. I think I've run into them multiple times. And it's always been a good time. So, that's going to be number 2. Okay, let's then look at how I reacted. As soon as I was told, you already said no blocks. You said no blocks. You got to take the damage. As soon as I heard that, I, of course, want to scoff. I want to say, really, dude? Like, turn 1, nothing's happened. Judge is right. We're good to go. I want to do those things. I chose not to. Because I believe the correct response in this scenario is to slow down, straighten out your back, pull your shoulders back a little bit, get yourself into a just a strong position, and sit there for a minute so you're calm. And you think about it, and I say to myself, I did go to I don't say this out loud, obviously. I say this to myself, I did go to the reaction step. Okay. This is for money, prizing. We all drove here. We all want to win. And that was my mistake. I said those things to myself. I took maybe, I want to say 40 seconds to a minute of the game time to do this. I just sat there trying not to make eye contact, trying not to make him angrier than he already seemed to be. Or at least maybe not angry, maybe just upset and uptight. Just try to give us both time to breathe. And then I said, you're correct. I'll take the 6 damage. But from that fucking second on, how far are we in? 7 minutes, we're good. Okay. From that goddamn minute on, okay, you can be damn sure it was my turn sequence goes, tunic trigger, pass to action phase. From that point on, you need to be on top of your game as soon as you have a player like that, okay? Don't be mad at them. Don't be upset at them. Like I said, you're both there to win. You both invested time and money, okay? Like, it's easy to get there and be like, it's just a game, bro, but I think I have 110 games on Jarl now. That's who I brought, Jarl Vitradi. And those are not short games. Jarl is not a short game kind of guy. So 110-ish plus whatever I just played at the ProQuest, plus the casual games I played while I was there. All of those hours were spent into trying to win this ProQuest. Okay? So just keep in mind, you all invested a lot to get to these moments where you think you're going to be going to the Pro Tour, where you think you're going to be going to Nationals. It's kind of a big deal, It's a big deal to whoever showed up, for sure. But yeah, from that point on, it's play my card first, pitch, announce the phases that we're in. Attack. This becomes an attack. Triggers. Block step. It may have started to grate on the other player a little bit, so then I started just announcing my triggers instead of their triggers as well. Okay? So, you can start to ease off the pedal a bit, but be on top of your own shit no matter what. I was still, no matter what, to the very end of the game. Tunic trigger. Attack. Here's the pitch. Answer any questions they had. 1 card in arsenal, two resources floating. I answered every question, but you just have to be calm and you just finish your game. At the end of the game, he did apologize. Say, hey, I'm sorry about that. It would have totally been different in another scenario. And I said, I get it. Good game. Good luck. That's all it has to be. I want to drive so hard into people that you absolutely have to take all perspectives into consideration in a very short amount of time. callings, pro tours, all of this. I've only had 2 really bad experiences in Flesh and Blood, but the fact that a third has just happened, and it's not even that bad of an experience. It was just like, I don't want that for a new player. I don't want that because Proquests are not exactly high-end events. They're a step up, yes, but they're not a high-end event. I don't want newer players who are going there, and there were a few newer players there, to jump in the game and meet that as their first experience into the competitive scene. Flesh and Blood has been so wonderful. It has been so good for all... God, are we on 5 years of me playing this game? 4 or 5 years, something like that. It has been so wonderful. I've had so few negative experiences. Both happened at callings in Las Vegas, actually. It's just Vegas, I guess. Maybe they lost previously the night before the tables or something. But that all being said, step 1 and 2 of going to these events: be mentally prepared, be calm, be courteous, and understand what your opponent has gone through or maybe going through, and respond accordingly. Don't just fly off the handle. Okay, next up. You're going to get deck checked. Okay, just assume you're going to get deck checked. No matter when you get to any competitive rules enforcement level event, you're going to get deck checked. I saw one person react not so happily to this at this event. It's not a big deal. Okay, they didn't make a scene. They just go, really? Why? I'm not cheating. I'm like, chill out. Chill out. I didn't say anything. There's no need to say anything. They eventually they gave up their deck. It wasn't because some player called it. It's just random deck checks. It's going to happen. Expect it. Other people are going to be touching your cards. I think that's more what it was about because the player was playing a fairly expensive deck. And I've never seen them before. So that's fine. That's fine. They were kind of like mumbling while their deck was being checked. I didn't have a need to interact with this person, so I didn't. Nobody did. Their opponent just kind of went to the bathroom and they went around their way. Here's what's going to happen when you get a deck check at these events. This is just for some of the new players. If you end up listening to this, this is what to expect. That's going to be this whole episode. If you get a deck check, it is random. You will have it happen to you eventually. And if you're in the top 8, certainly it will happen. Okay. The judge is going to come over. They're going to be like, you two have been randomly selected for a deck check. They're going to check both of your decks. They're going to organize the whole deck. They're going to compare it to your list that you brought. You're going to need to bring a list. If you're listening to this and you haven't gone to one, you're going to need to bring a list. Or you write one out at the event. Doesn't matter. Be accurate. They will give you IP2s, which are penalties that say you can only draw 2 cards for 2 turns. It's not great. They will do that if your deck is wrong. I've had it happen to me, and I won that ProQuest. So again, these aren't the biggest of deals. It's just shit that's going to happen, okay? I have made my deck list incorrectly before. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It's going to happen. Try your best to make sure it doesn't, but when it does, don't be whiny little bleh. Okay. So, yeah, they're going to go over that. What you're going to do is you're going to get a time extension, usually 20 minutes, something like that. They're going to hand your decks back to you. End of story. Okay. Make sure to recheck your sideboard because sometimes they'll unside you. Okay. Make sure your equipment is correctly presented and then shuffle vigorously. I took 5 minutes to shuffle that deck up again because they had completely organized it. And we had a 20-minute time extension anyway on top of our normal round. It was fine. I'm saying that for me because I did get deck checked later. Everything was fine. We're all good. I got deck checked in the final round of Swiss. So I went on an incredible hot streak that day. My matchups were in order. Prism, Riptide, Acilio, Aurora. Very wide field, right? It was a pretty small tournament. I think it was 16 people, 15 people maybe. It's kind of in the middle of a lot of areas. There should have been 30 to 40, but one of the bigger cities' whole teams just didn't show up. Fairly disappointed in you, motherfuckers. That's okay. That's okay. I know your area is flush with Proquests and you don't have to travel. I get it, but come on. So, smaller ProQuest. Those were my opponents. None of them were bad players. There is a fucking ice cream truck out in the front of my house, and it is driving me crazy. Damn. Damn. I kind of was hoping I could see the deck lists of the people on the gem thing. I thought somebody said that was coming. I can't quite see it yet. But yeah, I submitted Vitradi, and as I'm going through it's win 1, win 2, win 3, win 4, in order, like I said. I guess I can just go over how the matches felt and went. Just a quick recap. I'm going to do a video about this later. I'm not even going to do that. We're just going to do the video later on the tournament report. This is more about what to expect and how to conduct yourself at any of the larger events. Learning to win with grace is always rule number 1 with this game. It's you win, your opponent's gonna be salty. They're gonna, because it's a one-on-one match. There's only one person to blame, usually. And it's just it's gonna happen. You just have to say, hey, good game. Start packing up your stuff, be cordial, respond to reasonable things, but I want to share a not so proud moment in my tournament. So I went 4-0, made top seed, and my opponent for top 8 caught the worst of my attitude that day. It was not horrendous, but I still wish I didn't do it. Okay. All day my deck has been running very consistently. I'm running CYBs, Channel Lake Frigids, Blizzards, all kinds of disruption. Turn 1, my opponent lays down a Tekla Pounder, passes. I hit him with an Oakenold. I'm like, all right, we're off to a fantastic start. Turn 2, they lay down a Tekla Pounder. I think I just went in with like a choke slam. Nothing big. They blocked a few cards. Turn 3, they Spark of Genius for the next Tekla Pounder. And I think I have them at 19 life to my 42 at this point. So I drew 1 yellow CYB. But I have not drawn Blizzards to Arsenal. I've not drawn Channel Lake Frigids. I've drawn the 1 yellow CYB. I've not drawn any defense reactions to Arsenal. Nothing to plan ahead. And my hand again is full attacks. At 3 Tekla Pounders and playing a Tekla Core off the top at the end of my turn, he begins to lay into me, as Dash.io does. And on his turn, drops a Boom Grenade. I have to cover 12. Boom Grenade pops anyway. And I'm calm. I still have a well above 15 life lead after that. Next turn, draw full attacks. No Channel Lake Frigids, no disruption. It happens again. He just comes in as hard as he can. As much as he can. Okay. I block what I can. I brought Rampart in because I thought I was going to be drawing CYBs and Oasis Respites. Wrong. I survive a very long time. I want to say we got through 11 turns each. I think it was about 11 turns each. And in none of those turns did I draw a Channel Lake Frigid, a Blizzard. I drew a Winter's Bite one time. I didn't draw any of the other CYBs to pair with a Rampart. I didn't draw any of the Oasis Respites. I drew one of my block cards because I threatened the Mangle and I took away the Teklo Foundry Heart. I did do that. But I mean, he had Teklo Cores out. Didn't go my way is what I'm saying here. And by the end of the game, I go, man, I seriously just couldn't draw anything, huh? Sounds harmless when you say it as the player who just lost. What I just said there was you didn't really earn this win. I did end up following it with you played everything right, you set up correctly to be there for the win, but man, I really wish I drew some disruption. I later tried to soften the blow of what I said, but he didn't care, he won. Point being, I wish I didn't say that. Try to hold your tongue on shitty comments like I got unlucky. This is a game of skill according to the gaming organization, right? Germany likes it now, all that kind of stuff. This is a game of skill. There is variance, and I caught a real shit end of the stick of that variance, and I still let it get to me a little bit. Got up. I did shake his hand. I got up. I said, good game, good luck. And I did go outside, had a smoke, walked around, complained a little bit to my friends who came with me. That's okay to do outside away from your opponent who just won, but god damn, I wish I didn't take away the moment of him winning that game from him. I didn't take it away, but I maybe brought it down a notch. Try not to do that. Later on, I went in there and I was watching him, and I started rooting for him. I'm like, look, if you beat me, I need you to win, just to make sure that I lost to the tournament winner. You know? So I start rooting for him. He handily takes out the next opponent, who is an Aurora. And then he plays one of my friends who came with me, who's on Prism. I swear the Prism was going to win that match up and down, but it just... my boy never drew any items to block with. Or my boy never drew any items that he couldn't block with, is the more accurate way to say that. And just ran away with the game. So Dash.io won that Proquest. Not bad. I made sure to congratulate him. Gave him the little fist bump. I go, thanks, man. Thanks for winning that tournament. Made sure he knew he deserved it. He earned every bit of that. Because again, it is a game of skill. So those are the first like 3 things to really remember when you're going to these Proquests, when you're going to these high level events. You know, chill out, make yourself comfortable, make yourself feel like you're at home. Make sure you're not on the defensive right off the rip. Expect those deck checks. You know, people are going to be touching your cards. It's a card game. If you're uncomfortable with that, just get the cheapest version of the cards you can for your deck and collect something different. That's what I do. I oftentimes don't bring the rainbow foils out for anything. Okay. And then obviously try not to take away from your opponent's victory. They're so happy to have won. Just have a good time. Make friends, seriously. I had a really pleasant experience with a gentleman there, who I beat first round, and we're just like, for the top 8 cut, we went to go get lunch. I paid for lunch, we talked, had some fun, and now I know another person that I don't hate. Okay. This is a game of experiences. Please experience all that it has to offer. Honestly, this is kind of going to be one of the shortest podcasts I think I ever do, because there's not a lot really to do other than don't be a asshole. You know what I mean? On the flip side, we have a Proquest happening in my local city this next weekend. And I want to just flip the script on you. When you are in the city that is hosting the Proquest, try to make people feel welcome, greet them at the door, say, hey, welcome to the tournament. I know that's the store's job too, but you should also be like, hey, we're here to have a good time. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good competitive time. Make sure that the tone is set for the day, because when non-locals come in and they don't know you, you know, just like you, they went into a foreign city one time and weren't so sure of themselves, weren't so sure of their surroundings. But if you want the best competition you can, that's just what you got to do. And that's always what I'm after. I'm not trying to tear people down before they even get into the game. I'm not trying to tilt people. I want them to play their best game, so when I win, there's no excuses. Right? It's no, I was having a bad day, blah, blah. Nope. I don't want any of that shit. Make sure to also buy product when you're in other towns. I know the things are expensive already, but, you know, they don't really make a lot of money on these events. It's kind of a weird thing to say. Ooh, it's raining like a motherfucker outside. And sorry for the huge lull in content lately. It is brutal to try to live life, have a full-time job, and do content creation. Man, you see those people high up, just like with every other profession, you go, oh, it must have been easy to get there. Nope. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Cast a Commotion. I am going to try to set a schedule. Please stay subscribed. Please subscribe, like, check out the Patreon, do all the things that I'd like you to do. Get in my Discord, start talking to us, all that kind of stuff. Okay? Thanks so much for listening again. This one is zeroed.